music and make sure I'm not covering up the mic or anything. But if you need to stop me, please do. Cut me off because I'm a talker.
Um, now we are going to start for you. Hi everyone. Today we are with Brett J. Lawrence. Please introduce yourself.
Hi. Hey, Leia. I'm Brett. I mean, I know today we're going to be talking a little bit about my life and your life and what we think and how we handle things. And I mean, I hope that some of my knowledge can help others. I like to think of myself as a boring dad, like just a grumpy old dude just here, and I'm here to pass on advice to my kids and anybody else who wants it. And I've listened for so long, and I want to get the information out that it maybe if it could help somebody. Great, that's me.
Okay. Where can our listeners find you online?
Oh man, I actually have a horrible online presence. I have I always forget to upload my pictures. I've got so many pictures from all these conventions of like people love these stories. They love seeing the pictures. They love like hearing about how celebrities or VIPs or government officials are behind the scenes. And like we take our pictures. They want to take pictures because to them they're like, oh shit, I'm meeting this badass bodyguard. I'm sorry, this language. I'm a military guy, so we curse in every other word. My parents always told me it sounds uneducated, but I can try and tone it down. Um,
Okay, you just need to be yourself here.
yeah,
The LA's motto is inspire and engage. And here I always try to bring people from every corner of the world to tell a little bit about their life stories. It's all that matters. So let's jump into the conversation and learn more about your incredible journey. Can you tell us about your early years in the military and what motivated you to pursue a career in armament and weapons expertise?
believe it or not, I didn't pursue weapons. It was tag you're it. There was the war on terror. So I was telling my brothers yesterday I was doing an armed job bodyguarding at my family business, and they're like, so they're like, what do you do on these podcasts? And I'm like, nothing. I'm like, I tell people like how shit really was. I'm like, my early days in the military, it was it was the war on terror, and everything was changing, and the tactics, the uniforms, the which government entities were in charge of which branches of the military changed left and right. So nobody really knew what was going on. So my old friends in there, they're like, hey, take advantage of it. They're like, if you can get in the government job, you can go from reserves to active. So I actually was National Guard Saturday and Sunday. I taught the troops, and I, I mean, I would learn the stuff that I was going to teach them like 1 year prior. There was not like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. Now it's I've been doing it for like 15 years. But the guns, hey Tiger, this is my son Hunter. He's my 13-year-old, almost taller than me. He's right now in video games or TV. Shameless, how's it going? He's watching Shameless, and he's actually better than I got. It's a good show, but I told him it's a hard watch for me. Too much like real stuff.
Okay.
It's like a background show for me. It was like, just to fuel the ADHD, and I would concentrate on whatever was in front of me. You know what I'm talking about, right? When you leave something on in the background, and so you could just hear
Oh,
it.
no worries.
He said
I'm
young Sheldon
completely
sometimes.
kind to my guests. I saw many cats, dogs, birds, everything
We've
on the
got two dogs
background.
here. I
Okay.
was calling them over when I was in the waiting room. They didn't want to play with me. They were at the one of them was at the job with me because it's a family store, but there was like a couple threats during the week. So my brother's like, yeah, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't think it's real, but I'm not comfortable. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, who? Like, you may feel uncomfortable now, but think about it in like terms of the story. Like, don't worry about what's happening now because you just told me, and I'm in charge of protection for most people. I'm gonna come down there and do it. And it turns out my dad, he told my dad, and we're all one. We have security business for the family, but this is a my brother's store is a power sports,
Mhm.
and so it's like dirt bikes, ATVs, and they know mechanics. I only know guns. Gun mechanics were simple because I'll get back on track for you. Um, I I started in the military and I was military police. And at the time, it was the Iraq War, and I was supposed to go to Afghanistan, but Hunter J was born. So he was born 2 weeks before I came home, and I was going to go to Afghanistan with my friend Kelly, who was my partner in the army. She that's her last name, but she was a badass. Like the military police at the height of the Iraq War were the closest women could get to combat. This was 2010. So, or that was the tail end of the Iraq War, but that was how women in the army got to combat. So, our unit at one time was 50% female. And I mean, you could say, oh, well, how many of them were real warriors? You could say the same thing for men. How many men are really warriors? So, it was like the most badass women you'll meet were in the military police during that time. You know, as soon as the infantry took over a town, the military police would come in with their vehicles and like take the roadside bombs that got shelled at us after. So I expected that. And then Hunter's born, and I'm like, well, do you guys need me? And they're like, no, no, like this is there's no more private security. You know, if you want to get on, you can come by as an MP or you can join this unit. And I'm like, I'll stay home with my son, you know, I'll raise him. And that's what happened. We actually moved to Kansas, and I became a cop. And so there was nothing to do in the army. My unit was in Iraq, coming back, and so they had 3 months off. You know that 90 days Sarah law. So these guys were National Guard, and I was National Guard. And I was like, well, shit, what the hell can I do? It's on the weekends, and I'm supposed to be in Afghanistan, and like I'm learning how to be a father, and this is the coolest thing ever. But I didn't know what to do with my hands. I had been training for straight 6 months, kicking doors and doing mount, which is military operations in urban terrain. So we got a lot of high speed training. We were expecting to get blown up. And this is, the army finally caught up to all that door kicking you saw in the movies, and everybody was getting taught it. And so we got a little more in depth because we were, in the movies, you see everybody go through training, and it's like 3 months or 12 weeks. We had 6 months with the same drill sergeant. So for 6 months, just heads on a swivel, and we had to learn every gun in the arsenal because the military police stopped the massacres. So if the infantry unit,
Uh,
yeah,
I
that's a
think
good one.
I
Military,
think I think the the internet fell, and
I saw that.
yeah, and I saw a black screen. I'm sorry. Okay,
If you
I
ever
will
think
edit.
there's, I always laugh about that. The government
Okay.
can watch everything we're doing 24/7, and you would never know. No, it doesn't. I mean, think about it. All the government cares about is whether or not you're going to screw with them, and so they break you down by compartments. And you know how like everyone says
Mhm.
compartmentalize things, and it'll help you figure out the day. You learn that in the military, and that's actually how you handle a lot of the PTSD and issues when you come back from overseas is compartmentalizing. You start realizing, oh, my blood pressure's up. I'm having, flashbacks, and I'm not comfortable with it. Let me handle therapy. Put that in a box so I can check it because the army taught me to check off my boxes. Let me do therapy. Let me see if I need medication. I don't. Awesome. Next box. Next box. Let me see if my story can help someone else. Talk therapy. So it all they actually you hear about all these veterans doing terrible, and I say they're set up the best for it. It's civilians, and like my kids, I always tell them, look, be honest, tell me if you need something. Dad's just a man like you. Half the time I'm an old veteran in pain, and army years are like dog years. So if you kids want to know something, just ask. And that's how I was treating my troops, and that's how I learned, and that's how the tag you're it happened. They'd be like, hey, what?
Okay. It's happening.
Yeah, they'd be like, what?
Okay.
And I'd be like, nothing. I'd be like, I think I got to teach some guys about, off-road Humvees. And they're like, oh, while you're there, can you teach video games? Like, can you teach this video game where it's like about guns? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And this is Thor. He's a puppy. Um, he's being sad.
Puppy.
Yeah, well, he's a mix puppy, so he's a big puppy. There's a Great Dane over there. Part of my rehabilitation, I like to call it, and how I help myself in life is by helping animals and helping people. If my stories help, if my teaching people helps, like today, I was getting gun work done, writing in my book, and I had the dog with me, and people were playing with the dog, taking the attention off of me. It was camouflage in two forms. I'm hiding in plain sight because I'm the armed guard. So I'm pretending to play on my phone, but I'm looking under the brim of my hat at everything. Every 30 seconds, my eyes go up and I scan to see if anything changed, if there's any flickers of light, any shadows, and then I go back down, and the dog is scanning too. Now he's just scanning because he's a natural. That's his thing, is to be, a companion, but he picks up way more than I can. So when people come in, they don't see me; they see a dog. And in reality, I'm like, well, this is great. He gets his attention. He gets to play with people. And the dogs, they're crowd dogs. I like to tell people they can pick up on anxiety because if they see an elevated heartbeat or someone getting fidgety, they come over to you and they try and calm you down. But that's just how I train them. They can tell when people are getting worked up. And, I always say, like, you want to pet the dog. So the dog knows instinctively to go to somebody. And I didn't know that was like a fancy training thing that people are taught. So that's another thing, came natural, empathetic teaching. Oh,
Oh.
you're Flash too?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
every time I'm looking at you and the image is disappearing. But okay, I think
Good.
now we are we will continue. Let me just ask one more question about
Yeah.
overcoming injuries.
Injuries. That's a good one.
I I'm hearing about your life and well, you are you are military. You work at military police, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
I used to. I retired.
yeah, my father was also military police, but not from the U.S. I'm a Brazilian, so
Really? Who cares? That's awesome. Good
uh,
man.
uh, my father also had many stories while working against the organized crime, the war on
Brazil.
drugs.
Yeah, Brazil. You guys, they fought some wars there, and that was just the police.
Yeah,
That was like, just,
yeah, no army. It's just the police.
Mhm.
Oh, and
I
uh,
mean, you know better than
yeah,
me, but like from what I studied, and I'm like, yo, those guys are no joke.
yeah. Well, and now he's also retired, but my mother had to had to tell him to stop because he was with many heart injuries. He fainted many times,
That's how we are.
and
We push too much. Too proud.
we were worried about him.
It's not proud.
So,
Actually, it's more duty than pride. It's like it's not like I'm going to do this because I can. It's more like I'm going to do this because I'm helping. Is that
yeah,
how? That's why
yeah.
I like it. I was raised that way. I mean, I was raised in Long Island, but in the South as well. My father's from Arkansas, on the Mississippi River, and Tennessee,
Mhm.
and so my family's all West Memphis. So they have I have the cool Southern heritage. I would go down there in the summers, and my dad would teach us all this cool stuff. Our uncles would teach us how to shoot, but it was like once every couple of years we'd shoot. There was no gun nuts, no real background for any of that. I lived in New York. You guys had way more access to guns in Brazil than we had in New York.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a very, very strict state, very strict on guns. I have to talk the law, and I mean I have to know all of it, from bullets to how gravity affects a bullet, how a body affects a bullet, how the air is going to change the course, and that's just the bullet. Now you got to go into gun mechanics, springs, metal temperature. They gave me a master of gunsmith, like it's so called a mastery of gunsmithing certificate, and they gave it to me, and I'm like, I'm not a master. I'm like, I've only been doing this 10 years. They're like, yeah, you've dealt with like tens and tens of thousands of weapons. You've refurbished them from bare metal. You know what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, but only these guns. They're like, that's how everybody is. You're good. You're more qualified than you think. And so I started thinking, what am I actually qualified for? And so I started writing it down, and they gave me all these instructor certificates for stuff I had taught in my service. And that's how I was able to pass it on to people. I was like, hey, they made me an instructor for this. I have all the stuff on paper. I studied it all. I remember it. You guys want to be instructors? Like, I'll teach you how to do it. You guys, I'll teach you how to be an instructor. And so it was called Train the Trainer, and that's how we taught new instructors in the army. And it was a way of passing on that like duty, and that felt good. So retiring felt weird, but I had already passed the torch 3 times. I was never one of those, I'll do it until I die because I can do it. No, I was like, I'll do it because it helps other people and it feels like the right thing to do, which I guess is kind of selfish because I always say being selfless is sort of selfish because it makes you feel good. So you're doing it to feel good, but you're also doing it to help others. It's a catch 22.
Yeah, and I know how some people don't enjoy the the police work, but I
No.
know how you suffer and work hard.
That wasn't
Yeah.
me. I was lucky. I didn't have to deal with that. I did the tactical stuff, and I was only a cop for a year with the civilian. I did do civilian police work. I was a cop
Nice.
for a year in Kansas, and it was 2011 and 2012. And I I was talking about it today because they were like, "Yeah, we had a bunch of asshole cops pull us over," and I'm like, "Oh man." I'm like, I was really good at traffic, but I never had to worry. I never have to worry about someone being like, "Well, would you arrest somebody for something you've done?" And it's like, well, like I know for a fact I never arrested or messed with anybody because of weed. I
Mm-hmm.
arrested every DUI I came across. If somebody was, if they had just smoked and they were going to drive and I saw them, I'd be like, hey, dude, do me a favor, pull over the car because, I technically have to tell you it's safer. I'm like, you need a ride?
Mm-hmm.
Just, I'm like, come and get the car in a couple hours when you come. And they'd be like, really? And I'm like, yeah, man, it's 2012. No one gives a shit about weed. Like, there's real criminals. And so that was my thinking 12 years ago. And my bosses hated it, but they're like, well, we're not out there chasing people over a fucking joint. You're right. So they worried about more shit. They put me into, I was training with my corporal on martial arts, and the stuff I
Mm-hmm.
learned in the army came into play. And they're like, well, you're military police right now. They're like, you're National Guard. Do you want to be SRT? And that was like
Mm-hmm.
SWAT. And so I never got certified, but I started training to do it. And I'm like, this is really cool. This is high speed. And the armorer was the police captain. So he brought me and he started teaching me what to look for in a gun because mine kept failing. And I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
qualifying, but I'm not doing great. What's wrong with the gun? It keeps jamming. And I was pissed. I didn't get it, and I was like, I'm really good with guns. Like I just got out of training 6 months ago. Like this is the M16. I know everything about it. Tell me why I'm failing. And he's like, well, you don't know anything about it. You know how to use it in war. You don't know how to use it in peace. So he taught me the
Mm-hmm.
opposite of it, and that was very humbling. Being a police officer was like what I needed to be to get out of that warrior mindset and to learn to be like a peaceful warrior. Good boy. It's okay. It's okay. But they, like I said, they didn't want to play before, and now he sees me talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, we get to hang out, cool." So
It's
yeah,
okay.
that it was good. Being a police officer was really cool. I didn't have to deal with a lot of stuff.
Oh,
I had
nice.
people
Oh,
yelled at
I'm
me.
glad to like it.
People yelled at me all the time, and I was just like, "Hey man, like it's not personal. Like I'm not arresting you. I'm just here making sure you don't throw a brick in that guy's window. Why are you yelling at me?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I guess you're right." And I'm like, "Yeah, man." I'm like, "We're just hanging out." And like some people, they're just pissed. And if you explain it to them, they'll feel like you're talking down to them. So I just let them yell at me. Because what did it do? It made me uncomfortable, but that's what my job was, to be uncomfortable so other people aren't. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to learn that and to know
Mm-hmm.
that like I didn't break when people were yelling at me for an hour. It was like cool. Like I guess I can handle more than I thought. So that was a humbling year. And then we moved back to New York. Um, Actually for custody. My son, I moved back to New York, and I we got custody of Hunter, full custody, and it was awesome. And he's been growing up like a happy kid. So another good thing that came out of it. But I had to move back to New York, So that's when I
Mhm.
went full time with the Army. That's how that comes into play. That was 2013, and that's when I started in the gun business because
Mhm.
one of the guys I work with at the National Guard, I'm like, hey, you work here every day, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, I run this shop. And I'm like, what's a shop? And he's like,
Mhm.
shops are how the Army and the National Guard keep the units running. He's like, these guys are only doing it once, one weekend a month. So I'm like, oh shit, yeah. Like who takes care of the weapons aside from a supply sergeant, like the guy watching them, like who maintains them? And he goes, nobody. He goes, that's why I'm asking you. You want a job? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take a job. He's like, you know guns? I'm like, as much as the next guy. He's like, well, study this. And then my friend who was a supply sergeant was like, well, we have a position open for supply. And I'm like, I don't need supply. I need guns. And he's like, no. He's like, supply and guns are the same thing. He's like, we're the ones who watch the guns. We have to know when they're broken. And I had no idea. I mean, they didn't tell us that. We were military police. Why would we know anything about supply? Um, so it turns out that you can get ranked up in a position for a supply sergeant. Like there's a school you go to as a supply sergeant, but if you start in supply, the odds of you getting supply sergeant aren't very high. It's like it stalls out for a while. So
Mhm.
they sent me to this supply sergeant school, and I wasn't supposed to go to that one. I was supposed to go to regular supply school, learn how to maintain the weapons, and then come back and have a job interview. But instead, they sent me to an Army level. It's okay. He just knocked over a gun there. And, I had some bullets lined up there, so they spilled, but they didn't fall. I'm used to everything getting knocked over. Guns don't fall apart like that. But that's how the gun thing started. I got sent to the wrong school, and it was in Florida. It's called Camp Blanding.
Uh-huh.
It's Camp Bland. Like
Mhm.
so, it's Blanding. It's BLANDING, and I mean this was the weirdest base I've ever been to.
Mhm.
When you go to a new base, you have a safety brief. They tell you so that you don't mess up. They're like, hey, the police are very adamant. They patrol. Don't go over 20 miles an hour. There's some wildlife here. Be careful. 15 minutes, you go home, right? I was there for
Mhm.
2 hours, and they're like, "Hey, welcome to Florida. Don't step on any metal in the woods because it's probably a bomb from World War II. We're still cleaning them up." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm not going in the woods." And they're like, "Don't go running on the track because if it looks like a stick, it's a snake, and we have hybrid snakes now." They're like, "And we don't know which antivenom to give you, so we'll give you one, and it might not work because the snake is 50% rattle and 50% whatever. I forget the name, but it was like, so you're saying you're going to inject me with an antivenom and I'm probably going to die anyway? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And they kept going with, this is going to kill you and this is going to kill you. And this was just introducing us to the base. This wasn't getting us set up. It was just saying,
Mhm.
hey, this could happen. So 2 hours go by. They're like, by the way, nothing's open after 9 o'clock. So it's 10 o'clock now. You guys go to sleep. And it was like the worst base I've ever been to, but the coolest because I was working with the special forces who were right next to us in the class, and then the Air Force weather people are taking a combat course. So I had never dealt with that before, and they thought that like, I told them, "Hey, I think I'm in the wrong school. I'm like, I'm not here for supply. I'm like, I'm not here to run an army quartermaster. That's what it was for supply sergeant. So it was like 300 people to 20,000 people. And you got
Mhm.
certified to manage all of their stuff and to bring in new stuff and how to run it in the field. So it helped with classes. It let me think really big. And I'm like, okay, if I'm dealing with 10,000 weapons, because I was so bored, my mind just started dreaming.
Uh-huh.
I mean, need to learn these computer systems that the army hadn't even used in 5 years. It was
Uh-huh.
already wasted. It was already a waste for everyone there. And for me, I only needed the last 2 weeks, and I'm there for a month. So I'm sitting in class,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I'm never going to use this. I'm never going to use this. And I'm like a little kid. I'm like 23, but I'm like, I feel like a little kid because I'm the lowest ranking guy there. I'm not supposed to be there, and everyone knows it. And like I know that as soon as I get off, I get to go play with the special forces next door, and they're going to be playing with guns and teaching me how to work on it. So I'm like, this is such a waste of a day. My real job begins tonight. So
Mhm.
when the instructors were like, "Hey Lawrence, come with us," and they showed me the armament room and they taught us all how to work on the guns. And they're like, you already know all this stuff. They're like, we're going to teach you how to do a spur ride. And one of the guys was cavalry, so they ride horses and they have the cool hats, like a cowboy. So I didn't expect it, but what's called a spur ride is like, you do an obstacle course, but then they take all the guns we use, pistols, rifles, machine guns, sniper rifles, take them all apart and throw them in a bag. And then they mix them together, and then they tell you put them together in order. Put together a pistol, lay out the bayonet, and they shut off the lights when you're trying to when you're laying out all the pieces. They shut off the lights and they turn them back on, and all the parts are on a cart. You dump them all out, and now you have to try and put them together, and you got like 15 minutes. I didn't do all that fancy shit. Like they didn't shut off the lights, but it was so weird. And I'm like, okay, like this is cool. Like I got to do all this shit, and the special forces guys were there, and hey, I'm like, hey, like they asked us, like, what are you guys up to? And I'm like, nothing, going to have a beer. And they're like, fuck, we haven't had beer in months. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. I'm like, and I was way lower ranking than them. These guys are special forces at the time were the top, like they were the tier 1 operators. I was never going to work with them again.
Okay.
That's what I thought. All of them again, everywhere, from Guantanamo Bay back to New York. But I didn't expect it. It was, to me, I didn't belong there. And it was cool.
I'm really glad for your enthusiasm about about these stories. Normally, I never had a guest from with this history. I must confess, you are the first one. And
it's interesting because
it's
it
really
seems like
curious.
it's really cool, but it's like it seems like it's really important. And it's like, wow, he knows all this stuff. He works on this many guns, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I kept falling into like another room. They'd be like, hey, work on that room, another 1,000 weapons. So it was weird. It it didn't become funny. It didn't become a story until I realized years later, like none of it was secretive anymore. I didn't
Mhm.
have to worry about anybody. The arms room shit had changed, the war had ended, and I could talk about it, and they didn't care. And I was like, cool, because I made up half the stuff when I was there. I wrote new memos, I drafted new forms, I did the military police retired letters. Like, if you retire
Mhm.
as a military police officer, you can't get a pistol permit until 2016. So they wouldn't have had any forms until 2017. And I'm like, who's going to make the forms? So I'm in the military police unit. I'm deployed. I'm like, hey, I'm like, Captain? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, can I make this? And he's like, yeah, just draft it up. So I copy an old NYPD letter I found on Google. I put it in an Army memo I learned how to make in supply school like 5 years before. And I send it to him, and I'm like, can you just sign it so I can give it to NYPD so I can get a pistol? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And then it went to Big Army, to New York State, to federal government, back. So now it was used in the state, the government, the Army, and the military police corps. So it's official. And that's how they all became official. A friend of mine who's way better at guns than me, he taught me the
Mhm.
guns. I learned from two different people, two different styles. It's like learning karate and Wing Chun. It's like learning karate and kung fu. One is really hard, like the very rigid, and you have to learn the forms, and the other one is really flow like water, very calm, very let them come to you. And that's karate and kung fu. So it's like the weapons. I didn't know you could learn two different ways. I didn't know there was like an under the table way that the army does and an over the table way that the army does, and you have to do both. So I had to run 19 units by the time I was done, and that was 300 weapons per unit. It was a lot. And there were several wars. There were several wars when I was doing it. So I really
Oh.
was nervous. I was nervous. I'm like, this really affects people. People could really get hurt. And I'm like, if I don't make this the best I can, kids are gonna die. Like this is the war. Like National Guard fights and deploys more than the regular army. And I was working on their guns, and the same guns are always used in war. Like they deploy them and they stay there, and the guys who are there fix them. And for us, we had to send the guns every time that the new unit went. So I had to make sure each gun worked perfectly. And I'm working on these machine guns, and I start seeing that all of them are breaking, every single one. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in so much trouble. And I'm like, guys, what happened? And they're like, no, no, no. They're like, whenever we shoot it, it breaks. They're like, and it's brand new. And I'm like, I have to start studying it. I'm taking pictures. I'm writing it down. and I find out that every single gun of this
Mhm.
caliber made at this time failed. And no matter what, if you used it in combat, it was going to die on you. So people were using these old like machine guns. People were using the 50 cal machine gun. If you shoot it, it'll shoot 3 times and then stop. It's really strong and it stops itself. So if it's wrong, it goes bam, 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 and you feel like it's punching back at you, but the bullets are just shooting out, and then it stops, and then you rack it again and you keep going. And so you know it's wrong, but it'll still work. That's the cool thing about it. The problem is the metal was breaking, and I couldn't fix improperly heat treated metal. And so that's when I'm like, who does that? And my boss was like, we don't know. He's like, you're 40. He's like, there's 10 levels. I mean, he goes, there's 5 levels recorded by the number 10. And I'm like, what? And he started showing me how the army has the 10 level, which is number one, and then there's the 20 level, number two. And so the regular soldier using it is the number one level. He's the user. Then the next one is the armorer. Then the machine mechanic, the guy who works on the guns, that would be me. So I guess I'm the third level, right? So I ask him, like, what's next? And he goes, the fourth and the fifth level. He goes, the fourth level is the state. The fifth level is the manufacturer. That means, like, Colt, Browning. The people who make the guns are the highest level. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, they're never involved. So I get to the 40 level. I become the state guy running 19 units, and I start contacting these gun companies, and they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Everything's broken. Nobody knows what's going on. They ended up buying them all back and just throwing them away. And the guys at like what's called mates, they fixed it all. I had complained for so long that it got taken out of my hands and brought higher to the next highest level, which was a guy who was also 40 level. He just got paid a little bit more. And so when there are people who are better than me, there are. Because I can study from, like I said, the bullet to how it affects the body to how it affects the mentality of the person using it. I try and know everything, but when it comes to like how to actually make the metal for the guns, I'm like, I'm drawing the line here. You guys do that. I'm like, I don't get paid enough. I was only making 35 an hour, and that you take away 20 for insurance, retirement. I mean, it was like I guess 18 an hour, which isn't bad. Like it's a government pay, so it's pretty good.
Okay, so let's talk about the today's theme. I wrote a blog post called "I Reject Rejection." It's not all about guns.
No, no,
Uh,
I can talk whatever you want.
oh yeah, but I wrote about human relationships and how it's hard to be rejected because I grew up facing some challenges with bullies. I had many bullies at school.
No, that's my biggest fear for the little man. And my son, I have 3 kids, and I always worry. I ask people, how do I fix it? I don't know. I don't know how to fix their self esteem. So whatever you tell me, I'm gonna listen because I
yeah.
worry. I'm a worrier. That's how you get good. That's how you get really good at these things. You study them because you want to fix yourself and you want to help others. So tell me.
Okay. And I made yeah, I had some problems with self-esteem. You are right. And only after having contact with the arts, I've always been an artist. I think artist is not a career, but is
It should be.
part of me. Yeah, it's part of me. I was born an artist. I was talking with another guest about my relationship with music and visual arts, and I really don't know how to explain how it when it started. I just like to do it, and it makes me feel so at
What's your
easy
favorite medium?
as
Because I
and
want to connect. I want to know, like, is it like drawing? Is it portraits? Is it painting? Is it writing?
oh, I like to draw manga. It's my
Okay,
favorite style, and I
that's what
also
I learned from the
yeah
kids. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, and I'm also doing many experiments because I'm a graphic designer, and
Yeah.
I like to do hand lettering. Uh, I also enjoy doing in on paper graffiti because
Oh, that's cool.
I'm
I'm not.
I'm very
I don't.
allergic to paint
If you
and
tell me you
digital
do
art.
graffiti on the side of the street, I don't care. That's not my business. I was federal. I was army. That's not. It's like people worry, and I'm like, look, because I carry a gun, that's just so that nobody around me gets hurt. Like that's to protect me and the people around me, and that's it. I'm not there to ever arrest anybody. I don't give a shit. As long as you're not hurting anybody, do your thing. Like that's life. You gotta live it. You gotta enjoy it. Be real. And art is a passion. Anything you enjoy that's a passion is your art. So to me, that's why I asked the medium. I can't connect unless I can visualize it too.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think it's cool. Go on. I just wanted to let you know, like, to me, don't worry about it. I don't give a shit. I'm boring. Odds are I'll
Oh,
get around to you long before you.
I know. You have this uh a very similar career to my dad, but I can hear you, and definitely you are not like him.
I mean, I am a grumpy old man. That's what I tell people. In body and in spirit, I'm a grumpy old man. I just this is how I am. This is to me grumpy.
Yeah. Okay. Well. And let me just finish this story with the arts.
Yeah,
And
please.
since then, I also made some classes, some singing classes, musical theater. I made some performing performances
Really? So
on
you done a
stage.
lot. Yeah,
Oh
I can't
yeah.
imagine that. That scares the hell out of me. Going in front of all these people, like you're doing anything on stage, scary as hell. And I do bodyguarding. That's being on stage, but not the same at all. Your thing scares the hell out of me. That's why I say I'm boring. I go and I'm safe. I'm comfortable. I know all the panic scenarios. I control the violence. It's safe. Yours is scarier. You can lose your voice. That's fucking scary. To me, you start getting hand tremors. It messes up your picture. So I think that's more serious. Like it's just because I don't know it. It's so cool to me. That's unique.
Oh
Being
yeah.
yourself.
I caught a cold once, 1 week before a presentation, and it was oh yeah, I was really afraid of losing my voice
Did you?
during the presentation. No, I had some tricks, and I used
Good.
bad tricks to.
Could you tell me some tricks? Like honestly, when I go in front to teach a class, the first thing I'm like, don't lose your throat, don't lose your voice, and I'm like worrying my voice.
Okay.
I'll turn as beat red as the next guy. So if you tell me some, I'll probably do them without even realizing it. I'll be like, oh, I can't forget to do what you said.
Okay, baking soda with warm water is great to clean the
Like
throat.
gargling.
Yes.
That's I learned that from my dad. That's an old Southern thing. I feel like anybody who doesn't live in New York, they learn how to live off whatever. Like you learn that baking soda cures everything. You can tell from the fire in the house. Got out of the clothes with one wash from baking soda. Awesome. I never would have known that. I think that's so badass. That's cool. It helps your throat and your clothes. Okay.
Oh, yeah. uh, now the question: can you share a time when you faced rejection? If you have
That's
faced rejection, and how you managed to overcome it?
the, oof, that's a good question because there's so many different forms of rejection. I mean, we create rejection scenarios in our head. I mean,
Hmm.
I was worried that I was gonna be boring and that maybe I wouldn't have good stories. That's a form of rejection. I was worried that what some people find it interesting, but there's so many different stories on so many different topics. I'm like, like there's so much like what can I even share in an hour? What can I share in an hour and a half? And that's like a fear of rejection. I don't know why, but we're taught, especially being raised Catholic, this we have this sense of guilt, and we're
Oh,
always worried.
yes, me too.
Yeah, so we have this guilt. We kind of worry that we did something wrong, so we want to fix it before we even get there. And it's no one can be perfect. So I mean, I we could talk about regular rejection. I've asked out women and got shot down a bunch of times. I thought I was an ugly, doofy, ogre-looking guy until I was like 28. I didn't know what confidence was. So there was that personal rejection
Mhm.
because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. But I mean, when I had my kids, that's when I felt like, holy shit, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like I'm meant to be teaching them. I'm meant to be playing and having fun and working so I can provide for them. And that kind of taught me like a whole new level of love, and it fixed a lot of fear I had about failing because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about don't fail for them because they matter more. And that fixed a lot of my rejection issues. That made me start looking at the world completely different. And now every time someone tells me they're scared to have kids, I'm like, well, it's scary. You get a whole new level of fear that unlocks because now you have to worry about your life, their life, and the lives of everybody affecting their lives. People are who they hang out with. So that fear of rejection now becomes a fear of, are my kids going to get rejected? How do I help them? And it's like, well, don't get involved too much in their lives. That you start to become overbearing. They don't want to talk to you, and they don't care about anything you have to say. But you try and keep your distance. That creates an issue itself. So you kind of, I just had to be myself and talk to them and treat them respectfully, but also still like children. Like, give them a goal, show them how to get there, and then hope that they learn from their mistakes early so they can be more comfortable later in life. Like in their late teens, I'd rather them have felt that rejection that they have to get past so that they know how to handle it. And if they feel it when they're living here or with me, all the better. And that's how I get past it. I help other people handle their issues, and that helps me figure out how to conquer mine because people have issues that I haven't had to deal with yet, and I learn from each person I help. So I kind of figure other people do the same thing and they don't even realize it. Whether they do it and they're helping people or hurting people, regardless, they're using other people. So that's why I said being selfless and selfish to me, it's all psychology and how you look at it. Like being raised Catholic and feeling that I'm born with it guilt, or just being taught by society. Maybe it is me. So yeah, that's a great question. I don't know how to handle that. Like how does one truly handle like each facet of rejection? I couldn't tell you. I just know how I deal with it, and I hope it helps people.
All right.
You guys
Oh,
have to tell me how you do it.
I normally handle rejection with my spirituality, my faith. I do my prayers every day, and well, since I started getting more spiritual, serving on the church, it helped me to feel less rejected and more beloved.
A sense of
Uh,
community.
Especially because I help others, and by at the end of the day, when I sleep, I think, oh, I did something great for someone, and I think it's also helped me uh, reconnecting with my blogger and my podcaster self. I stopped for around 1.5 years blogging and podcasting
Really?
because yeah
Like, do you
because
feel this helps you overall? Like it gives you a foundation?
yeah because many people used to tell me I was not useful, and I was absorbing everything others said about me, and I started rejecting myself. So after after doing the therapy and doing the going to church and meditating a lot about who I really am and what I want to do, I think I started overcoming this feeling of rejection and giving. Oh, I normally I don't speak bad words, but giving a big
You know,
to
I mean, you're fine. But I get it. You know, that being with the church and stuff, it gives you a sense of community. I
and
I talk to
and
my local priests because there's a priest training seminary here in Kings Park.
oh, nice.
There's like priests living there and training, and I get to go like talk to them, and they're really cool guys. Like I'm like, hey, do you guys need therapy credits? Like, does that help you? They're like, yeah. I'm like, awesome. I'm like, because veterans don't like when people can hear what they're talking about because we get uncomfortable. Like some of our stuff, it's taboo. You know, like for me, I don't like the idea of killing. I don't like the idea of hurting. Body violence makes me uncomfortable, but I'm really fucking good at it. Like teaching it,
Mhm,
realizing how it works, that doesn't mean I like it. You know, so when I have to sit down and teach it, I don't want to have everyone listening in because that's an uncomfortable scenario. And it's like that's at work and I'm teaching people how to do it, but I'm telling them the whole time, like this is not something you should be doing. Like it's because you're at work. And
yeah, I would.
like when you take away their hopes, dreams, and their future and their family's future, like that's fucked up. So I don't even like what I do. I like the weapons. I don't like what the weapons do.
Oh, yeah.
Like the police, they help me like come back to reality and think of it normally. I talk to them all the time. They're good people.
Oh, that's
That I
great.
mean, it kind of goes without saying, right?
Well, I would say this. I started giving classes too, but drawing classes, not guns.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, do you feel like you're a good
hands
artist?
are like there.
I mean, look, if you feel like you're a good artist, I don't see why you can't teach at least the feeling. So if someone else feels that and they start feeling comfortable in their work, at the very least, you've helped the one person, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter if other people think it's good. You know, most of those people don't even actually care. Think of how many bands you said you didn't like just because of growing up, your friends didn't like them. That's just one way to look at it. You know, it's like you just change the scenario and you make it a little more realistic. And you're like, okay,
Mhm,
I'm being too hard on myself because like even half the shit I said when I was growing up doesn't matter now. So why
mhm,
should it matter later what somebody said for 1 second and then they forgot about a drawing I did 10 years ago? So yeah, keep drawing, keep painting, keep teaching. It's awesome. As long as one person enjoys it, you're doing the right thing.
absolutely. Well, and I'm really, really happy doing what I do. I I really enjoy this path, and I can't imagine myself going back to my other career because well
Even if you
I
had to, it's not a failure.
yeah, I'm in my
Taking it in,
second career. It's not my
but
first.
that's
I
awesome.
was
So
yeah,
you
I
know
was
what you're doing. That's a good thing. Because if you have to go forward again, that's just another way of finding a new avenue. You always have to go forward. So even if it doesn't work out one way, keep doing it as a passion and move into another career. That's not failure. That's you taking a knee, looking at a new way forward and finding it. That's a good thing. Like in the way I see it, it's you showing that you're not giving up. So
mm,
I mean, don't think of it ever as failure in that regard because I think it's impressive. It's more useful than what I'm doing. Guns are not that useful. You use them once or twice, they sit in the safe. A painting you can appreciate. That's me.
yeah.
I think use
Okay.
it.
Well, let's talk a little about your family and co-parenting. I saw one of your kids, uh,
Oh, Hunter,
and
he's my oldest. Yeah,
your
he's impressive.
oldest.
They all do. He's,
You
they,
have a unique and respectful co-parenting relationship with your ex-wife,
yeah,
as you said. Uh,
Krista.
can you
She's
can
she's
you
awesome.
share? Oh, nice. Can you share some insights into how you both managed to build a
We were
strong?
30 minutes ago, but right before we start, or I guess an hour ago before we started, we
Mhm.
were like figuring out the summer's plan, and that's you know, talking to your ex is never comfortable. Think about if you had to talk
Uh-huh.
to one of your exes from a gross breakup. You know, it doesn't matter how bad the breakup was. The
Mhm.
I feel like the hardest thing for most people to get in touch with is like it's not personal. That person, well, whether whatever my ex did, she did what was best for her, and now she's got her head on straight. She's happy with
Mhm.
herself, and the kids are happy. Yeah, my 5 year old, she's my youngest. I have three, a 13, a 10, and a 5 year old. Two boys and a
Uh-huh.
girl. And they are they're they're each so unique and so impressive for different things. I like to say like my oldest son, he's like the brain. You know, he figures everything out. He looks at it logically. My second
Mhm.
son, he's more in tune with emotions. He's got that middle child syndrome. He's the heart. And Autumn, she's like she's the family. She ties it all together. That's so it's Autumn. She's the youngest, and she's always like, "Why aren't you and mommy together?" And I always tell her, "I'm like, well, mommy has her own house because it makes her happy." And she's always like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Is she a good mommy?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Am I a good daddy?" She goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, that's
Oh.
awesome." You know, it's like, as long as you show them that like all that matters is how the parents treat them and treat themselves, and you show them that the breakup wasn't personal and it wasn't towards the kids, like, and you have them at the forefront of your mind. You have to make sure that the kids know that, like, even when you talk to your ex, it's mostly like if you're like you just want to talk to your kids, and your ex, they know things like I had the government job. My ex always knew like her dad was military and we worked together, me and her dad, in a separate way. Like he ran the Air Force base and I was
Mhm.
Army. So I would reach out to
Mhm.
him and I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I'd be like, "Hey, do you guys need this information?" So we actually shared across the branches just by being family. But we weren't linked before that. I met him through my ex. And so like he taught me as like cuz her dad and her mom were separated and my parents were together. And her dad was military his whole life and her mom was like a like a biker. Her mom was really unique. And
Mhm.
so um I was like I asked him like how do you guys do it? And he's like I just realized it's not about me. He goes he's like, all that matters is the kids are cool. They realize that, like, even if I get
Mhm.
mad, I just walk away until the ex calms down because we're broken up. What can she do? If it's not about the kids.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, I look at it that way. I'm like, well, it's not personal. Like, if she has a boyfriend, as long as he's good to the kids, I think that's awesome because they get another father figure when I'm not there. It's kind of a good thing. As stupid as it sounds, most men don't realize kids don't need just one parental figure. They need both, or if they get more, all the better. If those people can show them good things, cool. A stepfather is good in my book. I mean, but I'm weird. I want my kids to just be happy, and
Mhm.
that's what like America. That's how we all are. That's how like it's just an American thing, and it's. I still try and show them the world, and I try and be real, but I don't harp on it because I'm like, guys, like the world's an ugly place, but that doesn't matter right now. Like what matters is your slice of it. Make it work, help others if you can in the next place over, the next place over, and hopefully that bad shit doesn't happen here. And if it does, we'll deal with it. And that's kind of how I kind of be like, guys, like I see bad shit at work. That shit's not going to come here unless we let it come here. Let's do our best to not. And so when I teach, I'm like, these guys are going to make sure this shit doesn't come to my town. And that's why I still do it. It all eventually comes full circle to helping
Mhm.
people, whether it's violence, that violence, it's all everything is kind of it has a violence behind it or the idea of violence. So controlling that violence and making sure that people don't misuse it, to me, that's important. Making sure these people understand how damaging it is and how it fucks up everyone's life if it has to be used. And the hardest thing for me as an instructor is making sure people look at it at the human perspective and not just clinical, the science of killing. You can kill more people with more bombs. Well, fuck that. You want to kill less people. The whole point is to scare everyone into not fighting. Like you show this bomb is super deadly. We don't want to hit anybody with this. No one wants to hit us with this. Let's leave it at that. And yeah, it sucks. People are always going to build better weapons, better cars, better phones, and people are going to figure out a way to use it for war, or they'll figure out a way to use war stuff when they're not in war, and everything again comes full circle. So it's the world is patterns, and if you learn the patterns, you can sort of figure out what's coming in a broad way. Like World War I showed us what was going to happen in Ukraine just by the turn of the century technology advances. You knew
Mhm.
there was going to be leaps in war from Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and Israel. You saw each one progress and get used
Mhm.
way worse from the last war. The drones were giant planes in Iraq, and now this one person can control a shit ton of them one day, and you just put grenades on them. That's scary. That's You've seen these Russian people and these Ukrainians both getting harassed. It's fucked up. I mean, I don't like the idea, but if I can teach people how to take out the drone, that means less people die by them. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Weird, I know. It's like I can only do so much. Let me try and cover it as much as I can.
No, I'm listening to your stories attentively, and well, about the last thing you said,
I talk
the
myself too much.
history of wars. I coincidentally studied in my past career. I studied law and international relations,
So you
and
know half of what I'm saying, like personally.
yeah,
So you see,
and
like when I
I
say I don't want people to use it, you're working on these laws, trying to enforce that people don't fuck up. That's when I say your shit's more important than mine. It is because you're enforcing it after the fact. That's important. People need to know, and in order to fix shit. But that's how I see
absolutely.
it. The end has to be justified. The means can't. The ends can't justify the means. It all has to be justified. That's how I see it. But there's one quote which I think you would like, and what is it? It's from Benjamin Franklin or John Adams. I know it's like a founding father for America back in the day, and they said, what was it? It's an old philosopher's quote.
Mhm.
It's like we as a like our generation studies war, and we study war and math or whatever, so that our children, or we study war and science, so that our children can study science and art, so that their children can study philosophy and make new art, just so that their children can repeat it. So it's like you get that 120 year revolution. And the quote is like a perfect example of everyone does it. It seems like it for the benefit of their kids. You're
Mhm.
working towards the later future, and that's how you have to look at it. But if you don't build fail safes, it's going to repeat. But I want that generation where the kids study art, philosophy, and the war is just a side, a sub study, a subcategory, so that they don't repeat it and their children. And it's that to me is a perfect quote for how why yours is more important than mine. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. I think that quote covers it, but it's a little too pessimistic.
Oh, yeah. I think war times they brought great technological revolutions to our world. From what I
Imperative.
studied.
Oh, yeah.
uh, but the question now has to do with you. What's your way of showing up for yourself every single day?
Showing love for myself every single day.
Yes.
I I try and take the time whenever my son gets out of school to actually talk to him about stuff he did, and hearing how passionate and excited he gets makes me passionate about it. When he talks about a new anime or a new TV show, even if I might not even be into that type of anime, but hearing how excited the kids get about it and how like he breaks it down for me, I love hearing it. And so I might watch a show that I normally wouldn't just because the way he explained it, it sounds awesome. And to me, it's like, okay, so I'm taking the time to hear him, even if it doesn't seem like a lot. Like, he knows if he comes out and the show's on TV, it was him. And he, even if it's like something in the back of my mind that I don't even realize, I know that at the end of the day, it's something we could talk about together. And so that's pretty cool. I think that each they just you show them that you love them, and in turn, you hear what they have to say, and if they really care, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna if they get frustrated, it shows that they care about it. They're trying. If they give up and throw it, you sit down, you talk to them, and you're like, shit. Well, I've thrown my phone against the wall 3 or 4 times this year, so I get it. Like, what's up? Like, how can I help? Or it's like, what? Not even how can I help? It's like, all right, well, what do you need me to do? That's that. I get to be there for him, and that helps me, worry less about the stupid little shit because it makes me realize we're all the main character. We're all the hero in our own story. So if I can make sure that I remember that I'm not, it makes his life better and my life better. I know
Oh.
because it's like it's not even for me, but it is in a sense. It is. It's
No, actually, it's really, I think it's really uh, sweet from your side to hear what your children has to say.
I
uh,
hope. I hope I'm not, just imagining. But I'm doing the best I can.
our childhood years, in my opinion, they are the ground. Even when yeah,
Yes, they are.
even adults, if we have a great childhood, if we remember of our childhood years with love and sweetness, I think things get so much better. Okay, I had the problem with bullies at school, but
Yes.
at at home, I always I was always beloved by mom and dad, and even my great grandmother. She was between us until I was 15 years old.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes. Yes, a sister.
That's all. Yeah, rich in family. You guys, you have 2 generations above you, your parents, and I mean, even if they were busy working, we're shaped by what goes on around us. But if you know that they care and like they're trying, and they get pissed off sometimes, to me, it's like, well, he's human. My dad's a man. My mom's a woman. They're human. If she's in pain and he's grumpy, that's common. I'm lucky they're still together, and that's how I saw it, and I was happy. That's because I saw how many more people's parents had split up, and so I'm like, I'm the odd man out, and everybody looks at my family like I'm the lucky one, so I'm gonna appreciate it. But I was a middle child. I had a bunch of siblings. I'm one of 7, and we had like 3 people adopted into the family. So yeah, rich in family is a real term, and it matters.
Yeah.
I think
Uh, I'm
even
the
if
oldest.
you still have your brother and your sister, you still have your sister to hang out with. It's like, oh, cool. It's like having a best friend you live with. It's a good thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I always remember when we were on vacations. Well, my I couldn't have dad all the time because he was working and his routine was really heavy. But I remember my cousin. She was always there. And we used to go to the movies and the shopping mall. It was really simple, but there,
Well, different time too. Yeah,
yeah, different times. I love it to watch movies and walk
that's
on the
beautiful.
shopping mall
Yeah, no,
and buy comics uh, and read comics together. play with Barbie dolls. Oh, I always remember with love from these times, and uh, I think they are my ground until this
Did it
present
make you feel
moment.
better? Like, because I mean,
It's
dreading worry sucks. It makes you worried about the next day, and that's not how a kid should feel. You shouldn't worry about school. You should be excited. The way I see it, get away from your family, be happy. If you come home and you feel safe, that's a good thing too. But
yeah.
how, like, did you find that like you would go home and you would talk about it, or you would just go home and you feel comfortable, and so you just put it out of the way, out of the mind? Like,
Yeah.
what?
I think I'm I'm socially awkward. I think I'm really shy,
Me
and
too.
when I
This
return,
this being outgoing is the best introvert method. You be an extrovert for an hour a day, so you can spend 23 hours with yourself.
yeah. Well, when I returned home, I all I wanted was to sit down and read. I'm a book lover for real. I
Other
love
book
to read.
get like a. I was able to talk to my brother. He was talking about TV shows, and I'm like, I wish they had made the series from the '80s into a TV show. They used it in Stranger Things for season 3. You
Hmm.
remember you saw Stranger Things? I don't want to just assume,
Oh,
but
I heard about it, but I never seen.
so it's American nostalgia, right? It's like it just brings you back to the '80s, video games, comics. That's basically the
Mm-hmm.
whole show. So
Hmm.
what they did is they had to find a supernatural reason for each season as to why these kids are fighting the Russians and what's going on and the monsters and so on. So there was a book in the '80s that we had. There was like 16 copies of it, but it's one of those books where once you get to the third book, you're done with it. Like it goes too much. It's like trying to read technical manuals. It'll kill your brain. But the concept was awesome. It was
Hmm.
like a guy who could talk to the dead, but he was born with that and he didn't know
Hmm.
it. And so like he would learn by talking to them because he was an introvert. And I was like, this is a really cool concept. But they called it necroscope. And I'm like, that is the worst name. That's why you'll never get a movie. Like that doesn't like make me think, oh, that's a great story. No, that makes me think I don't want to know any more about that than what the title tells me. And so cool pictures we have were the covers of these books. The skulls that look like a vampire with the fangs that they used for like Warhammer decals, and it's used for everything in every TV show nowadays. Nowadays is actually the cover of this book from the '80s, and a lot of the concepts for TV shows and sci-fi is off of this guy's book because there were vampires, there were guys who could talk to the dead, but what it is was the government kind of covered it all up, and they were like, "You want a job working for us? You can hack the Russians." And the guy's like, "Fuck it, let me make my skills stronger." And it made sense in the book, but I feel like a good book could take the whole day away, and when you remember one, it's like sinking into
Uh-huh.
like a warm memory. It's great. It's just like going back to your childhood.
Oh, yeah, the story seems really interesting. But
It's the name terrible, terrible name.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It's terrible. But
Great story though. Great concept is like anything could be a great story. The concept matters because it could be the same concept overused. It was new. It was cool. It just
yeah.
shapes us now, and I thought that was interesting. That book branched into like everything we use nowadays. Just interesting, weird thing.
I was the fiction book I was reading was, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Russian Russian literature, Dostoevsky.
Oh
I
wow,
was, yeah.
that's a hard read. Oh, I couldn't read that. That's
It's really complex.
I've heard it. I've heard like any one of those Russian authors from around that time is gonna throw you for a loop. Like that's reality to its bone.
Oh, yeah. It's It's
Yeah.
terribly realistic, but I'm reading slowly.
It'd be like,
Sometimes,
have you ever read Moby Dick? You heard of this like old American
oh
book?
yeah.
It's like 800 pages about a guy who's really grumpy and hunts a whale. Like apparently it's like reading it nowadays is miserable, but back in the day you could really compare yourself to it. And it's like I don't need to spend 800 pages reading about that. I know getting lost in my own head is enough. Like I want to read an instant. So I don't know how you could do that. Like, does it have a story? Does it like captivate you? I mean, tell me about it.
Oh, I never read 800 book. I must confess, it's like watch a 3 hour movie.
Like
But in
watching a
the,
War and Peace.
yeah, in the second hour, I get bored and I forget the story.
And that's you have to put the book down and come back to it in a week or a couple
Yeah.
days. It's like, but certain books at the end, it's worth it. It's like okay, I get why everyone loves it, or it's like, why did I even do that? But you're looking
Yeah.
for that feeling of a great book to sink into. You're chasing that memory, that feeling, and it's when you find it, it's great. But you don't know it
It
until
depends.
later.
It depends on the story.
Yeah,
It must seduce me. I say the books must seduce me. If they are seductive, I can read until the end very quickly. But
it
if
depends on the
they are
genre.
not, yeah. Oh
All
yeah,
right,
the genre also helps a lot.
yeah, it has to
I
pull
like,
you in.
yeah. I like dramatic stories and historical books. I really enjoy this kind of stories. Uh, and
That's why I like hearing a good podcast. You hear the stories you would never hear, and that's why I'm like, I just found out what a podcast was a year ago. I didn't know. I was boring. I was. I don't know anything technologically until the last couple of years because I only just
wow.
retired the last couple of years. I was lost in stagnation, and books were my only outlet. So I can get like appreciating a book after it's done and being like, okay, I had to finish it to really enjoy it, and it's like time, but when it's done, it's like I couldn't read it again, but it was worth reading. It's one of those like it's like a movie you have to see, even though it's hard to watch. It's like knowing how well the movie was made, it's worth putting in the effort to watch it. It's like being a critic almost.
Oh, absolutely. And
Well, the books are made for you. The books are made for us. We're the ones who have to judge them, right?
yeah, you're right. So, um, let's talk about one more question. Oh, this one I always ask to my guests.
Oh wait, before
Who?
we get there, can we take a 5 minute break? I just want to use the bathroom
Oh,
real quick and then come
sure,
back.
yeah, sure. Don't
I'm
worry.
just gonna turn the camera off, put my mic down for like 5 minutes. You good?
Okay, I'll try to
I don't know
pause
how
the
to work this.
recording.
Like I said, I'm not technologically advanced. I'm just gonna walk in the
Okay.
other room. I'm not worried about it. I'm taking a bathroom break, so
I
uh,
pause the recording, and
cool.
when you're back, we return.
Okay, cool. I'll be back in like 2 minutes, 5 minutes max.
Okay, go there. Uh,
Okay.
and we are back here. So let me
This is
just
tight. This
okay.
is going. This is a big brother. He doesn't like being on camera, but he goes everywhere. He's actually a tiny Great Dane. He's only 120 pounds, but
Oh.
he loves jumping up. This little guy, he just snuck under him, and he's about 90 pounds now, and he's in the pup. But that was a little break for a minute, so they could get a treat and play too.
I had a little dog who always appeared on
Oh,
the
that's awesome.
recordings too.
Was it
But
August?
she was Yorkshire.
Oh,
So
that's
she was
awesome.
really small. Her
A
name
little
was
thing.
Chichi. And she passed away around 2 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
that breaks your heart because it's like you already know, and it's like you're grieving them while they're there. It's really hard. I mean, I I get when people are like, I don't want to talk about it, because it's like, well, that's like your best friend, who's there when you don't have to show a face, you don't have to be a personality, you can just be you in your pajamas with your feet kicked up, and they don't care.
Yeah.
So, growing up with a dog helps too. I was gonna ask, but we got. I know you have to keep on topic.
But I love it her, and she was sometimes she was angry and biting everyone, but
That's
sometimes,
adorable though. That makes funny stories. That's good
yeah.
too. I laugh.
Oh,
Like
she,
little
she
dog.
bites people.
I would just pick her up. I've been bit by Rottweilers, Great Danes. I'm not. A dog bite is kind of like a rite of passage. So if a little one's nipping, I'll play with them. I don't care. It can be frustrating, yeah, if you're trying
Yeah.
to work. If you got a good guest who's just like, this is a dog, and there's nothing I can do about it, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you show the dog it's cool, then they'll be calm in a little bit. That's how I see it. Like if I get worked up, they'll get more worked up. So why not just roll with it? Dogs are cool. They make you
I
happy.
think so.
Even when you're angry, you're still kind of happy. You're like, it's cute though.
No, for sure. And sometimes she was really lazy. I remember once I was in a Sunday morning, tired, really tired in this Sunday morning. My mother went to church. I think my sister and my father they ran, or I now I don't remember what they
They
did.
throw healthy stuff too.
Yeah.
I hate
Uh,
running. I'm not gonna lie. The army, they made me hate it. There's no way I can enjoy it.
and I was sleepy, and well, I look at at my dog, and I thought, oh, I need to sleep. And she was she was trying to wake me up just for belly rubs.
Oh, of course, yeah. They don't care. It makes you realize like how awesome it is. Like they don't care. They're not worried about later. They're just like, hey, now enjoy now.
Yeah. And then she slept with me. And when I saw the clock, 2 p.m.,
But tell me that wasn't the best nap you've ever had.
yeah, we slept until 2 p.m.
And how
And she
guilty
was,
did
and
you feel? You
she was
felt
looking at
terrible.
me. Yeah.
You probably were like, I ruined the day. I wasted it. Now I have work tomorrow. What did I do? Something. And the dog is just happy as hell because, like, fuck it, we slept.
Yeah. Oh, she was looking at me. Why did you wake up now?
That's awesome. It's like 2 o'clock. Go back to sleep.
So,
One thing, dogs will sleep 22 hours a day if you let them. Especially smart
oh,
dogs, if they're waiting to adopt, or a companion dog, they will sleep 22 hours a day. I've taken them to the wild and I've seen them where they revert back when they're on the mountain. They won't eat for a day or two because they don't have to eat as much. They automatically they're like, now I got a new job. Dogs are so fascinating. They either make you laugh or they make you like astonished. They're like kids, like they're just kids who never grow up. That's all. Like
mhm,
us.
I think so too.
They're
Oh,
like us.
one day, I want to adopt another dog. Now I can't adopt a dog, but
Apartment.
I really want to adopt when I can.
Your There's an apartment, right? That's
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing is like if I didn't have my house and like if it caught fire, but like that shows you how easy it is to lose a home and like it's like oh shit like if I had to be brought in with my dogs I would be fucked. So you got to grind a bit harder, got to make things a little more complicated, but you realize how much harder you actually do work to keep these things in your life. It's I'm sure like you're saying, you want one, but you can't because of this,
Yeah.
and it's like you're depriving yourself And it sucks because there should be nothing against renting with a dog. I mean, I'm sure your landlord loves dogs. They're just like, as a landlord, I can't allow it, but I'm gonna pet every dog I see on the sidewalk. That's bullshit. I wish you could just talk to them like humans and be like, look, I'm gonna get a little dog. If it fucks up the floor, I'll pay for it. Like you can take me to court. There's pictures. Like how am I gonna hide the evidence? But if it doesn't, you're not charging me. I mean, that seems pretty fair, right? It's
Mhm.
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Why not just enjoy the little time you got by bringing a dog into it? And it sucks, that you can't because I know, like you said, you want to. It's miserable. So it's like
Yes.
it's another catch 22. You want to help them, not even for yourself. You'd give a dog a good home. So it's like you get lost in that technicality, checking the boxes bullshit. That's that's part of the shit
Yeah.
I hate. It's like why can't people just take shit as it comes, and try and adjust.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm gonna have an alarm go off. I want to cancel that first. I don't want anything screwing up the tea.
So, well, well, we see the face of your puppy. Let's ask one more question. Oh,
Yes, yes.
who are the most influential people in your life?
Oh man. I mean, like, there's so many different ways. I like that question is like, do you mean influential like the people I've worked with? Influential as in who is my muse and who gets me
I
to?
think in your life,
I mean,
personal life, yeah.
you already know I'm going to say my kids. I mean,
Mhm.
each one shows me a different way to look at things and a different way to appreciate things. So I'm definitely going to say my kids. Like Hunter, he's just whether he knows it or not, he's he's unique and he's a kid. He's 13 and he looks nothing like me. He's gonna outgrow me in 2 months, but he looks nothing like his mom either. The kid, he's got German blood in him. We had the paternity test because we went through court, so it's not like I don't know he's 100% mine and 100% hers, but he is his own person to the point where he's going to outgrow everybody in my family. So I love
Mhm.
talking with him about his heritage. And he's like, well, aren't I part Hungarian on mom's side too? And I'm like, you are. I'm like, but that's when it was the Hungarian Empire, and her grandmother was fiercely proud of being part of the empire. So how do you even know? That's like being Roman but living in Britain, in 400 AD as compared to living in Rome in like 50 BC. You're both Roman, but you're worlds away. So I'm like, the Hungarian, I'm like, you could be anything. I'm like, you're definitely Northern European. I'm like, but you could also be Persian, and we wouldn't know. It's just something you'll find out later, and it's cool. So he likes it, and he looks at the world with that vigor too. He's like, there's more to it, and so I love that. He makes me look into things I never would. And then you have Caius, and he's named after Julius Caesar. You know how like in World War I they called the German leader the Kaiser? That's how you pronounce it. So I didn't know that. I just knew that Caius Caius Julius Kaiser was spelled with a C but pronounced with a K. And Julius Caesar is one of the most famous generals in the world. So I'm like, I'll give my son the name Kai. Like we'll call like Caius, and so I called him Caius Winchester because I had just gotten the job in the weapons. Winchester was a name that the gun that won the West. It was the first repeating American firearm, and it changed the world of weapons. So he's got a really strong name, and he looks at history that way. He's like, well, this is the way it was written, but how did it really happen? And I'm like, well, ask me about my part of it, and I can tell you how different it is from how it's written. Like, nobody knows who closed Guantanamo Bay except that it was during President Obama because I was there closing the buildings, physically
Mhm.
closing the buildings myself as a soldier, but I was not a prison guard soldier. We were there by accident.
Mhm.
We weren't even allowed to know anything, and everyone was asking us like back home. They're like, "You're on the news. Like this is you. Like you're finally closing the camps." And I'm like, "No, we're not." I'm like, "We're closing a building. Like all we're doing. How do you know about it?" And they're like, "Watch the news." So I looked at it, and it's like, "Oh shit, I'm part of a history. Like I'm part of this moment in history. Like, and it's supposed to be really important, and I didn't even know about it." And that's like how different is history there? So Kai and Hunter, like I'm looking at Hunter through a technical scope. Like Hunter, he figures things out, and he's like, "This is how it works." Cool. He does the same thing with the mind. Kai, he wants to know why things work that way, why they were made that way. Holding alarm with y'all. And so Autumn, she's 5. So she's still figuring out who she is, but she's got these two big brothers to go off with. So she's like the best part of a girly girl from her mom and her aunts. And
Hmm.
I wear pink all the time. I'm not the most masculine man because I don't think it matters. I don't even drink beer. I drink Malibu Bay Breeze. Why? Because I'm a badass and I know it. So it's like if I know I'm a badass and I've got more guns than half the police departments in the state, and I know how to use them, then why the hell should I care if someone makes fun of me if I wear pink? You know, I'm like, I don't give a shit. So I tell my kids, I'm like, look, I'm like, if that guy's making fun of you for wearing pink, I'm like, it's just because he's a fucking loser. He can't figure out what he likes. Like, don't worry about him. Worry about you. Like, if pink makes you feel good, wear it. Like, nothing makes a man except the what makes him an individual, what makes him a person. Like, it's the same thing for a woman. Like, and so I tell him, you know, Autumn, she's gonna have the best of it because I grew up around warrior women. I grew up around Italian, you know, mafioso loud women. I grew up around Hispanic women and Jamaican women, and so I know a lady. I know someone who is, you know, someone who can throw down with boys. She is gonna be so whatever she wants to be that I'm just happy her brothers were able to like pave the way and make her feel comfortable to do that. And you know, she sees that nothing makes a man, so nothing makes a woman. And I think that's going to be cool to see. And that's my muse. I can't think about throwing in the towel because there's so much to look forward to. It's each day is like something new, whether it's good or bad. It's, you know, there's bad days. You can't have nobody can be perfect all the time. And you know, that's those things. Like I said, I hope they learn from earlier so that later in life, I could just be like, hey, remember that time that happened? Like, you're sort of going back there, you know, don't worry about it. I've done it too, but, you know, you don't want to deal with it again. And they're like, oh, yeah, that sucked. You're right. Okay. And so it's like, okay, good. They're not getting a habit from it. They're not feeling uncomfortable. They're their own person. They can figure it out. I did my job. As long as they know they can always come home, that's even better.
Well, I must say I asked this question to all my guests, as I said, and uh, it's almost a survey because the answers are so interesting.
And
Uh,
very different. And whether they all
yes,
it all, you know, it all probably has similar stuff, but that's
I would say almost 80% of my guests answered mom and dad, the most influential
my
people
dad.
in their lives. Yeah.
My dad taught me how to be a man and how to not care what other people said. I mean, I could tell you, you can fill your podcast on my dad's story. Him and I have the same background. He was military police, but he was Air Force,
Mhm.
and he was deployed to the Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines. So he feels like he didn't really see war, but he saw fighting constantly. He has all these certificates and shit, and he thinks he doesn't deserve VA benefits because he's like, well, everybody else fought in Nam. He's like, I was protecting them, and yeah, we saw some fighting, but it's not the same. And I'm like, you have the worst imposter syndrome. Like, that's who I must get it from because I'm like, you were a great dad. You taught me how to be a dad, you know, like without even trying. So, you know, if he feels like he didn't do it right, then no one ever is going to feel like they did it right. So that's also another way to like look at the world in an easier view and to be less harsh on yourself because if my dad, who I think was the best dad, like hands down perfect and a great gentleman, whether he was perfect or not, he was perfect in what he presented himself as my dad and what he showed every day. He doesn't have to be a perfect guy at his core. He was a perfect dad.
Mhm.
And so to me, it's like, if he doesn't think he did it right, then no one ever will. And so that if you're worrying that you're not doing it right and you're not trying hard enough, odds are you're a pretty damn good parent and you just need to hear it every now and again.
And I would say some people I think around 5 to 10%. They say my husband, my wife, depending on the gender. And there are some different answers. You are on these different
Well,
answers, I would
I mean,
say. My
think about it.
friends, my
My ex is
birds,
cool. My ex
I
is
heard.
cool. She
Yeah,
helps me by seeing my kids all
my
the time.
teachers.
I mean, I can say my ex-wife is a muse because inadvertently, without even trying to be, she gave me my kids. I get to see my kids every week for Thursday through Sunday because of her. So, yeah, she helps. You know, it's everybody has their part to play, and I'm not even that important. I'm playing my part. I just have some cool stories to go with it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And it
yeah.
the world into like super like I don't care who you are. Odds are you're a dick, but like I'll give you the benefit of the day, you know. And everybody at the end of the day is a dick in one way or another. No offense, that's just the way I see it. Nobody is perfect. Nobody can be perfect, and they can't be on 24/7. People need time to themselves to reset, and I learned that really early on. I learned that as a kid. I learned it in the military. I learned it on the police department. I learned it being an outlaw, and I learned it being a lawman. You know, it was everybody has to reset no matter which side you're on. Everybody has to take a knee and figure out the best way forward. And a lot of people are taught that taking a knee or taking a minute to breathe is the same as failure. It's not. That failure is when you give up and you throw in the towel and you say, fuck it, I'm done because I can't do it. Not, I'm done because it's too hard. If it's too hard, you're frustrated and you need to reset and restart. That's all. You need to find a new avenue. So, anybody who can find a muse, then they already have the inspiration. They're already there. It's just whether that muse is going to change in 3 years, their opinion is going to change. It's all going to change. Everything changes. It's just you got to appreciate it while it's here. And my dad taught me that because he was, and this is weird because like you can look it up. He was a proponent for change without meaning to be because he was just like white people suck at working security. He's like he's
Mhm.
like if you live in New York and you know odds are you're white, you came for money. But this was back in the 70s. My dad said it. So he told me when I was a kid. He's like, look, he's like right now. He goes right now this year. He goes the best workers in New York are Jamaicans, Haitians, and Indians. He goes next year it might be something different. It could be West Indians, could be Portuguese, and it could be Italians. He goes, it changes constantly. And you got to change with it. So when he was starting the security in the 70s, he had finished his time in Nam. He had finished being a cop for a year and came to New York. And so we both did the same thing. And he came here and he started working these security jobs. And he was working with the mafia, but as a legal thing. He was like, look, you guys are fucking up. He's like, you don't need to break the law. He's like, you want to buy that building? He's like, give me the money in a briefcase. Let's walk there. He goes, you don't need to go in there and threaten anybody. He's like, if you're going to pay for it anyway, let me just walk in with you. And that's when so my dad went and did that. And so he worked with the mafia trying to get them to be more legal because it gave him business and it made them stop being assholes and fix the community. So my dad's like, hey, I make money and these guys, I don't have to be afraid of them and nobody does. So he starts doing that. Now the Bananas, there was a crime wave. There was like a mafia war in the 70s and 80s, and the Bananas were the bad guys. That's how you got to look at it. They kept starting these issues because they wanted to be on top. These guys were racist as fuck. My dad only had black guards. He had all Jamaicans, and he had Haitians and Jamaicans because he ran nightclubs in the 70s, and he was called White Man Charlie. He was this old white Southern guy he was short and he carried a big gun, but he never used it, and he would walk around and he could hang out with the gangs, he could hang out with the cops, and he could hang out in the projects, Southside Jamaica, Queens, and because he treated everyone fairly, no one gave a shit. They're like, hey, it's White Man Charlie. You know, don't fuck with him. He'll kill you. And my dad's like, I don't know why they say that. He's like, I worked with the mafia, but I didn't like them. He's like, I wanted them to be better people so they didn't fuck with my workers. And so when my dad, there was a mafia don who was shot. This dude's in the hospital. He's scared as fuck because his own people tried to kill him. He's a banana. So my dad goes there, and the guy's like, no, no, Charlie's cool. He's with us. And the guy's like, well, what about these black guys? What are they? But he didn't use that term. He's an old school Italian in the 70s. He's calling them the N word. He's telling them get the fuck out. And my dad's like, look, you called me in. He goes, because you don't trust your people. He's like, I can leave, but I'm taking them with me. He's like, and if they are leaving, I'm going with them. He's like, so it's your choice. And he's like, well, the Don goes, well, who the fuck are you? And well, my name doesn't matter. He goes, who I am doesn't matter. He goes, this matters. And he shows like a big 45. And he goes, this matters. And he shows another one. And he goes, that matters. And he points to a guy who's standing in the corner who looks like he's not like part of anything. He's just hanging out. And he goes, and the guy opens up a newspaper and he's got a gun in it. And my dad goes, go look out the window. And so my dad, the friend who he's with, who's like, hey, relax. These guys are here for you. And he's like, I don't want him. And he's like, yeah, well, you don't want him. He goes, go. He goes, what's outside the window? And the friend goes, two black guys. And he goes, what's in the lobby? And he goes, a couple black guys. And he goes, and who are they here to protect? And he goes, you. And he goes, all right. He goes, so we can leave, but then your people are going to come kill you. So you work with us, you're going to do things different. And that's how it changed. It was slow, but it was forced. It had to be done when it was needed. You had to show how desperate it was and how being an asshole is going to follow people everywhere. But if you just realize that, look, the person's going to be an asshole, nobody likes to be told to fucking leave, especially when they're protecting you. That probably made the guards super uncomfortable, but they're professional. They're like, fuck this white guy. I'm still getting paid, and odds are no one's coming here because we're the ones here. People are afraid of what they don't know. So my dad, he revamped this whole thing, and he didn't even mean to. And that's how half of my shit happened. I didn't mean to create new memos. I didn't mean to make a new system in the Army. I didn't mean to make a new type of SWAT, in New York. It was just, it happened. I started writing down my ideas, and I was in a position that people listened.
All right.
So I thought that would be an interesting backstory because it explains why I see things the way I did. Because that's what I grew up around those guys. All my dad's friends were Mr. Turner, and he chased me with a taser. But he was funny, like he was fucking with me. But it was a different culture. I didn't care because I knew that he wasn't trying to hurt me. He was showing me that shit didn't hurt. And most people didn't see it that way. They always were like, "Nah, dude's trying to hurt you." I'm like, "No, he's showing me a taser ain't nothing to be afraid of." Once you zap and the guy's like, "See, it wasn't fucking nothing." And I'm like, "Oh shit, it wasn't." Because as soon as you let go with